James, before we get started, why don't you take a minute and tell everybody, 31 years old, you can enjoy life, you can travel, you can work hard, you can build a business. Why are you running for the governor of Florida at 31 years old?
Patrick, I'm running for Florida governor because my family has been here for 4 generations, and Florida is the best state in the country, hands down. That's why we all live here. I was born right here in Broward County, raised here my entire life. But if we're the greatest state in the country, why is it so hard for the families who made it the greatest state in the country to afford to live here? Mm-hmm. I meet people every single day, including just last night in Sumter County where we held a rally of 100 people. I can no longer afford my property tax bill, my homeowner's insurance, my HOA, whatever it may be. I can't get a great paying job. I can't buy a home. That's a real fight. And so I'm in this race to deliver a real plan to make Florida affordable, to make life a little bit easier. I believe we are the best state in the country, but that has to mean something for the families, the young people, and the seniors who made it the best state in the country. How do you do that? Right off the bat, you end the H-1B scam. No more H-1B workers will be allowed in Florida. Those jobs will go to our recent grads. We're going to ban Blackstone, private equity, and foreign nationals from buying up single-family homes, hoarding and cornering the market. So you and your kids and your grandkids, Patrick, they can buy a home. You know why? Because a home is not a nice to have, it is a need to have. If you can't buy a home, can you get married, Pat? If you can't get married, can you have kids? And if you can't have kids, what's the point? We know that as Christians. It's a precondition. And then let's talk about overdevelopment and sprawl in our state. You look at a Google map over the last 15, 20 years, a satellite map, entire communities where citrus groves once stood, where cattle ranchers once herded their lots. Guess what? Those are now becoming AI data centers, become Section 8 style housing. I believe this is a choice between old Florida and new Florida. If you want Florida to become the AI data center capital of the world, you can vote for Congressman Byron Donalds. If you want us to become the financial capital, the concrete jungle, vote for Byron Donalds genuinely. But if you want citrus, ag, tourism, space, if you want a state that we all can be proud of, if you want to protect our Everglades, if you believe that our jobs belong to us, if you believe that we should be able to buy single-family homes, not Chinese nationals, if you believe that Washington, D.C. should send 600,000 Chinese students to our universities, guess what? Here's my plan. As Florida governor, I'll sign an executive order before the sun sets on my first day to raise tuition on any foreign student to $1 million a year. $1 million.
Foreign student to $1 million.
I don't want them in our schools. Florida taxpayers like you and me, we pay for Florida colleges. We built them. We fund the faculty, staff, and the research. Those should be for our kids. Imagine a young girl right here in Broward County who went to my high school, Boyd H. Anderson. I was one of 2 white kids in the entire senior class. Imagine her being told, you know what? You're not going to be admitted this time around. You're not going to be able to go to the pre-med program at the University of Florida because we had to make room for a student from Shanghai or Mumbai. That's exactly what's happening every single day in our state. And if DC is successful with this deep state U.S.-China trade deal, upwards of 600,000 more foreign students can come to our universities. And Patrick, I'm a big fan of what you've built here. I wanted to make a little bit of news here this morning if I can.
Beautiful. Go for it.
We all have friends in New York, and I am sorry for their loss that Zoran Mamdani is their mayor. But I want to be very clear. 3 words. Florida is full. We are not a refugee camp for New Yorkers to flee from their problems. That's your mess. Clean it up. I am proud to announce here today exclusively on PBD that I will pass the Mamdani tax, $50,000 property transaction tax for any out-of-state individual who wants to buy real estate, single-family real estate here in Florida. It's time we put Florida first. We are full. We took in 800,000 new residents after COVID in just 5 short years. Crazy idea. Florida needs to put the people who made Florida, Florida back at the front of the line. That's what I'm running to do. If you want more New Yorkers, Byron Donalds is your guy. After all, he was born and raised in New York, and within the span of 3 years moving here, he got himself arrested twice. Rather interesting. But at the end of the day, I believe that there's a real debate in the Republican Party right now between economic nationalism and economic corporatism. The economy has to work for working people. It has to work for young couples. It cannot exclusively work for the biggest companies. That is my platform. As I ended my campaign video, my name is James Fishback. I'm running for Florida governor as a 4th-generation Floridian because I believe, Patrick, that Florida is our home, America is our birthright, and no one should ever be able to steal that from us.
I love that. I love the fact that you have bold ideas. You even give an idea about if somebody can fix, was it one of the citrus, what was a problem you said that you would give them $1 billion? Can you share that idea with the audience as well, please?
Yes. So there is an issue here with citrus greening. I was in Frostproof in southern Polk County with 5 generations of different citrus growers. And what I found was that there's this greening that came from China about 15 years ago. It is an infection, a disease. And much like COVID, the Republicans and Democrats just pointed the finger and said, it's China's fault. We're just going to give up. We're just going to give up on citrus in Florida. Citrus used to be 245 million boxes every single season. In the most recent one, it's only 14 million. Guess what? That means fewer jobs, fewer local industries, fewer local businesses, and a sense of pride in our communities like in Highlands County, in Sebring, and Frostproof. And so what I've said is if you're a scientist anywhere in the world, and I mean anywhere, you could even be in Iran, if you're a scientist anywhere in the world and you have discovered the scientific cure to greening, the state of Florida will pay you $1 billion cash. Because guess what? Florida citrus could be upwards of a $50 billion industry again. Why wouldn't we make a one-time investment to turn places like Moorhaven, Davie, where citrus groves once proudly stood, where we employed tens of thousands of young men and women, where we supported local industry and local businesses, when we gave these rural communities all over our state a sense of pride? Why don't we put a little bit of investment for them?
It's a good point. And by the way, for Floridian that may be listening to this saying, hey, that makes sense, I'd like to see that happen. Now, going back to the $50,000 of people coming in. So if you're going to charge somebody that's coming here, you call them refugees coming from New York here, the Mamdani tax of $50,000, who does that benefit? Yeah. What does that do? Because and even if you did that, the people that are leaving, I'd say most of them would be able to pay for it. And I guess if they do, it generates an income for the state. Tell me the logic behind that idea.
Well, the logic is in economics, show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome. There is no disincentive right now for New Yorkers to pack up their things, throw in the towel, come to our state and price us out and push us out. And crazy idea. I believe that our state should work for the people who built our state, who put it on the map, like my grandmother, who was a 20-year English teacher at Plantation High School, just about 10 miles southwest of here. So the idea is very simple. Create a tax disincentive as opposed to a tax incentive for New Yorkers or any out-of-staters. It's going to be a property transaction tax. It's $50,000. If you want to come here and you want to move your residence, it's going to be $50,000. My hope, and I think what you're going to end up finding, is that's going to actively deter people from coming here. Look, if you got a New Yorker who's outbidding a Florida family, who's about to get married, have 2 or 3 kids, if they're outbidding them by $5,000 on a home, guess what? That family may have to stay in their studio apartment on the wrong side of the railroad tracks for another 5 or 10 years. They may not be able to get married. They may not be able to have kids. What's the point if we can't support them when they need our support? And so what the Mamdani tax of $50,000 does is it says there's a property transaction fee of $50,000 if you're an out-of-stater buying property here in Florida. And what you do is you actually recalibrate the market to allow Florida families to have a fighting chance to buy homes and to exist in our state.
It's an interesting idea. It's like when the Trump did the $5 million gold card. Is that what he called it? The $5 million gold card? Or I remember I was in Panama. Panama said, if you bring $300,000 here, we'll give you the citizenship. You're trying to come here. Panama, the country. Unemployment at the time was 2.3%. Incredible real estate, incredible economy, and a safe place to be. It would be a similar idea. Tom, what do you think about the $50,000 idea?
I think, well, it would have affected you and me. My dad worked for IBM, and so I lived down here during high school. I graduated from Boca Raton High School up there, I-95 and Glades Road. And so we came back here, though, looking for a business-friendly environment that would attract us. And so if you build a business-friendly environment and you want us to come down here, and we've brought down, now look at the jobs we've built. This was a failed business. Pat bought the building. Now there's employees in this building.
Of course.
So I would think you would want those people to come because you've built this magnet to say, hey, we're going to have less regulation. This is what we've got. We got this for families. And for those of you that stay here long enough on education, we have the Bright Futures program where you can get a tremendous discount if your kids do well in high school. You can get a discount and guaranteed admission at Florida State, University of Florida, UCF, and FIU, correct? All the ones that are funded by tax dollars through Tallahassee.
Correct.
So why would you then put a toll gate up and say, if you want to come down here and participate in all that and make jobs, wait a minute, the toll's $50,000.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be missing the opportunity of someone like Patrick and myself and others that are with his organization?
So I think it's a great point, Tom. And look, I would not have supported this 10, 15 years ago. I would not have supported this even 7 years ago. The truth is that we had 800,000 people move here over the last 5 years because we had so much success and we attracted people here. I think at some point, though, it makes sense to say, enough is enough. We are full. We don't have the infrastructure, too much congestion, too much traffic. Home prices in Broward County alone are up 72% in the last 5 years. So what made good sense, and I'm glad you're here, Tom, I'm glad you're here, Patrick, but what made good sense 5, 10, 15 years ago needn't make good sense now. Look, I think we were right to welcome immigrants here on Ellis Island, but guess what? They didn't get food stamps and an Obama phone. They didn't get $7,000 a month in Chicago or $500 a night hotel rooms in New York City.
Different issue, and you're right about that.
Correct.
They shouldn't come here and have all the tax dollars
Of course.
going to provide all those things.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think the bigger thing is what might have made good sense, and it did make good sense to invite folks down here to open up businesses and industry. That's one thing. That was 10, 15 years ago. We are at the brink now. We are fully exhausted as a state. Go to the I-4 corridor between Tampa and Orlando, nonstop traffic. Drive here 95 between downtown Miami and downtown Fort Lauderdale, nonstop traffic. At what point do we say, we're done building? Let's just preserve what Governor DeSantis has given us. And part of that has to be, Patrick, eliminating property taxes. Not property tax relief, not property tax reform. Eliminating property taxes to zero for every single Florida resident. Not for out-of-staters, not for Canadian snowbirds. We have to deliver the largest tax cut in Florida history. And you know this, Patrick. One person's spending is another person's income. So when we give you a tax cut, I don't want to know how much your property tax bill is, but when we give you a tax cut, I've seen your beautiful home. When we give you a tax cut, how are you going to spend that money? You're going to invest it in your business.
Yeah.
You're going to go out and get ice cream over movies with your kids.
I did a video on this about the whole no property tax, homestead, non-homestead. The way I would probably do it, I would do it to incentivize. It's almost like, how you're with a company 5 years, they'll say, hey, we'll give you equity and we'll give you LTIP if you reach a certain level, and then this is when the benefits will start. I would consider doing that for the people that need it, not the guys that are living in $10+ million homes. I would probably not give them that, and maybe even give it to people that have been here 5+ years or 10+ years. Something to be aligned with your argument, right? To be a true Floridian, fourth generation, because you're a true Floridian. You've been here 4 generations. So when somebody says, I've been here for that long, you know the state better. This is your culture. This is where you grew up. If it was a 10-year plus somebody that's homestead, would make sense. If it's below a certain number, that would make sense. Of course, when you announce something like that, that's just going to make more people want to come here. So if you say no home tax, no taxes on homes, $50,000, say I'm paying whatever in New York, I'm like, oh, here you go, James. Here's $50,000. I'll move tomorrow.
Correct.
So if you get 300,000, what's 300,000 times 50,000? What's 100,000 times 50,000? What's the number? It's 300,000. So 10 times 50, 500, 5 million, 50 million, 500 million.
Yeah.
Is it $500 million in revenue? Rob, can you take a look at that? If 100,000 times 50,000, is that a half a billion or is it 5 billion?
I think it's 5 billion.
Is it 5 billion? 100,000 times 50,000, 5 billion? It's real money.
That's real money.
That's real money going into the state.
And by the way, that's going to go for infrastructure here in our state, because the roads, the bridges, the potholes, our airports, we've got to do more for that. We have to. And so I agree with your point 100%, Pat.
Yeah.
Let's create a system where if you want to move here, you got to wait 5 years before you can get that property tax relief. Look, skin in the game.
I love that idea.
Skin in the game.
I love that idea.
You can't do this property tax
I like that very
arbitrage.
good too. Are you familiar with Howard Jarvis and Prop 13 in California?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, let me teach you the history. In the late 70s, Howard Jarvis says property tax in California was too much, and Prop 13 was passed in 1978, Howard Jarvis. And what it did is it locked in your property tax for your home right now, and it locked it in, and guess who was benefiting? All of the families that were already living there that already had those homes.
Right.
So you kind of gave the working class families the tax relief, and then everybody that bought houses after that was subject to new property tax rules. I love the vesting idea. I love
the
5-year
vesting
thing.
idea, yeah.
You're a resident and you're vested as a resident. Here's your benefits. You have your child here in the school this long and they get good grades. Here's your Bright Futures program.
Correct.
I like the idea of like a minimum, no games with the 189-day rule, right? Where you have 189 days in Nevada and you can avoid California income tax. No games like that. Vested residents get stacks of benefits.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.